but hopefully people will file in a little bit. Rosa, how are you? I think you were with us last night. Jacqueline, good to see you. Bridget, thanks for joining us. We'll get started here in just a few minutes. See if we got a few more people that'll roll in.
Hi, since we're waiting, can I ask a quick question?
Absolutely. Fire away.
I get emails a lot to come to these live calls, but each time I have to register. If I register, do I register each time I want to come on, or is there kind of like an everlasting link for each day?
All right, new question. No, I'm kidding. It's a good question. I think that you can use the email that you get you should just get the email for the link for that specific call, and you just go through there, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know that there's, I know what you're saying. I feel like I have to do the same thing. I have to register each time. I'm not sure if there's any way to, like, we use the same Zoom link. So if you just were to save this link, now that might change occasionally, but for right now, we use it for many, many weeks in a row. So if you save that Zoom link in separate on your desktop or wherever, you could use that. I think that would avoid having to register every week, but honestly, I'm not even sure how it works. That's above my pay grade. So
thank you, and thanks for hosting. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we obviously have a very small group here so far today. Tell us how you got to this group, Jacqueline.
Sorry, I'm off camera because I'm in California and it's dinner time. I just got home and I'm trying to shove food before I go to my gym workout.
Go California.
What's that?
I'm in LA, so go California.
Oh yeah, go California. I found out through Sandy from Ignite Your Wealth. She seems to be pretty big fans of you guys, so she pointed me in this direction.
Awesome. Very good. Sandy Bondurant?
Correct. Out of North Carolina. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Very good. Very good. I see we have another Atlanta member here. I'm in the metro Atlanta area. Mohan is as well, and just got connected with us, I think, this week, right, Mohan? Did you know about the Freedom Chasers before this week?
Yesterday I joined. I met Trevor at the DML.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Are you in Sandy? Did you tell me you were in Sandy Springs?
Coming.
You're in Cumming. Okay, all right. And you work in Alpharetta, is that what you said?
Right.
Okay, yeah, I live in Roswell.
Yeah, you mentioned. Yeah, we'll catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. If I walk across the street, I'm in Alpharetta, so perfect. I know, Rosa, you've been around for a while too. Can you tell us how you got connected to the group, Rosa?
Hi, everyone. I'm Rosa. I'm located in Boston, Massachusetts, and I keep looking for another Boston, Massachusetts member so I can link. And of course, from everywhere, because we're looking, I'm coming from the Multifamily Mindset group, and
Okay.
I got invited to a group chat. And someone posted a link of you guys, and that was yesterday. So I started following you guys up.
Oh, awesome. So yesterday was the first time you had joined us?
Yes.
Very
and
good.
I loved it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I know there was, and maybe you were one of them. I know there were at least two people from the Boston area last night. Fred, I forget what, not even sure how he pronounces his last name. Magalhaes. He was from Boston as well. And I thought there was somebody else. Did you speak last night?
No, but I was listening. And I didn't hear anybody else from Boston.
I'm trying to think if I made a note on that. I guess I didn't. I know Sandy's from Charlotte, but yeah, I'm almost certain there was another person. So that would make, there's at least two, there might have been three last night. So there's definitely some folks from the Boston area for sure. But
I took notes from some of them, and I don't have any from Boston. I don't know if I missed that, but if you find it, please.
yeah,
send
I'm going to
them
make it.
over
In fact,
to-
I'm going to make a note here, and I'll try to make sure you and Fred get connected.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, do that. So just real quick, want to talk briefly about the Freedom Chasers ecosystem. I think everybody's familiar with that. Dinesh, good to see you on here. Hadn't talked to you in a while. But every week we do 4 Zooms. On Sunday night, we do our activation Zoom. I know some of you were on there last night. And then on Mondays, obviously we start taking action, and historically we were calling brokers. We kind of made a decision to move it from 2 o'clock in the afternoon, where we could call brokers, to 8 o'clock at night, where we'll do more role play and we'll review live calls. So, but anyway, I'll get to that in a minute. But so on Mondays we call brokers, we talk about broker calls, we take action, right? Then on Tuesdays we bring the information that we get from those brokers to the napkin underwriting. Real quick, we figure out how do we determine as fast as we can whether or not this is a deal that we should go deeper. And then on Wednesdays, every other week, we do that deep dive with Victor NG. And on the opposite weeks, we have Jerry Miles and his wife, and they do the debt call. We talk about the debt market and various topics as it relates to debt. So all of this is free. We intend to keep it free. We want you guys to come in and network with each other. There are people in here that are brand spanking new. There are people in here that have invested in multiple deals. So you can build your team here. You can ask, it's a safe place to come and ask whatever questions you want. Connect it. One of the things I like to tell people is to change your name as it's displayed. I like to put that I'm from Georgia. So if anybody comes in from Georgia, they know I'm local. I am a lender, and I put my phone number. Some people put their IG handle. Put something so we can connect with you. We want to get you guys, we want you guys to be setting up meetings, calls outside of this. Get to know each other. There's a lot of people in here. In fact, Ed and I have submitted a number of LOIs together. I submitted an LOI with Aldo, who just joined us. Aldo, good to see you. And there's a lot of things that happen in these calls. I think one of the things that has been key for me is these calls keep us accountable, right? You've got to, the group's getting big. There's a lot of people. You can't know everybody, right? But you want to get known. You want people to know you. So you want to raise your hand. You want to ask questions. You want to participate in these meetings, participate in the chat, and start to connect with people outside, because that's where the deals are going to happen. And if you don't get connected, it's like going to a big church, right? You got to have that small group to connect with. Otherwise, you just get lost in the mix, and then it's so easy to walk away if you don't know anybody. And I probably would have given up. I wouldn't give up, but I wouldn't continue to be as active as I am if it wasn't for taking a leadership role in this community. Because this is hard, right? We talked about it last night. Charles Seaman, it took, he's crushing it now, right? He's doing great. We all want to be where he is. It took him 2 years to get that first deal. It's not easy to hang in for 2 years, right? You need the support of the community. You need people to connect with. You need people to encourage you when things get tough, right? We talk about on Sunday nights, we have that window where we talk about wins, and we're going to do that here tonight as well. We want you to bring those wins, but you know what? Come and talk about the struggles too. Let's help you through it. Where are you having problems? And that's really how this this call got started. It wasn't even part of the Freedom Chasers community yet, but I had been on another call where they were reaching out to brokers and they were asking for volunteers and nobody was stepping up. So there was me and one other guy who did, and we made a couple of calls on that Zoom, and I could just feel the resistance from the crowd to pick up that phone and call. So if that's you, and that's why I started doing these Zooms. It was like Marcel encouraged me to do it. 2 weeks later, I started my first Zoom, didn't even know what the heck I was doing. And that has been one of the best things I could have ever done. The connections I've made by doing this have been amazing. And it keeps me accountable, right? It makes me pick up the phone and call these brokers. If you're feeling that resistance, come here and tell us about it. Let's talk about it. We want to get you through that, right? We want to overcome that with you. Reach out to me separately if you want to schedule a one-on-one meeting. I've done this with a few people. We set up a Zoom call, we get on that Zoom call, and we call brokers together. In fact, I have an active LOI right now that came out of one of those calls. That's why that LOI even happened, because I did that call with somebody else. So anyway, just some ideas. Want to get you guys connected, connect with other people, reach out, set up meetings, get to know each other. What was the other thing I was going to mention? I totally lost track of my thought, but anyway, we appreciate you guys being here. What I want to do tonight is I want to do some role play. So I would love to have, I'll call on people. That's not a problem. I'd love to have volunteers. Jacqueline, I know you're doing dinner time. It might not work for you tonight, but we'd love to have you come back and role play with us another time. But I see Leonard smiling. I think he's a good candidate for a role play. Mohan's trying to play it cool over there. He's got his camera on, but he's trying not to look at me in the eyes, I think. But so anyway, if anybody wants to have Rosa hide her face, I see you. You can't
Just
hide
real
it.
quick, I wanna make sure you guys know why I put those two documents in here. In the chat, you guys will see it. The two Google Forms. The first one is for you to input your information. The second one is where the information autofills. So it's a way for people to reach out to you. It's a way for you to find other people in the community. You could find people, but based on where they live, where they're looking to invest, what their goal is, what they're good at, what they're not good at, how to contact them, all that's, and some fun facts about them. So just so you guys are like, what the heck are those two forms that Edward just put? You're not signing your life away, I promise. But it is just a way for you to connect with other people and to basically, not everyone can make every call. So it's like you put your information there and either someone will find you or you can go looking for someone else. So that's just why those are there. And yeah, please fill it out if you haven't before, so people know how to reach out to you as well.
Awesome. We've got a few more people join us. That's great. Tiffany, good to see you. I haven't seen you for a while. So yeah, the other thing about this is this whole thing got started with guys that are working at W-2, right? And not everybody on here is working at W-2, but many of us are. So that's the other thing is, we want to encourage people to know that this is possible. That you can chase this multifamily dream while you're working at W-2. So get connected with other people, get to know other people in the group, and bring your deals to these calls, and let's do some deals together. So is there anybody that has any wins to share? Obviously, we'd like to have it be related to broker outreach, but if nobody has any specific win regarding broker outreach, anything multifamily, real estate, business related that anybody wants to share with the group. If you do, please raise your hand. And again, anybody that wants to do role play with us. Hey, what I'd really like to know is anybody really struggling that wants to, talk to us about that. Are you trying to, you wanting to reach out to brokers, but you're not? If that's you, please unmute yourself and let's talk. Let's start that conversation. We've done that before. We've had great success. We've actually had people say that they were hesitant, and we get them and we do a live call on this Zoom. Now, obviously, we're not going to be live calling brokers, although the folks in California could, right? It's only 5:20. We could pick up the phone and call some broker. No brokers work after 5, Ed?
They don't work before 5. What do you mean after 5?
Well, they don't answer their phone. I know that's what makes it so hard. That's why we're going to the recorded calls, right? That was the other thing I wanted to say. So I've got 2 calls queued up for tonight that we did on previous Zooms. I wanted to bring a new one to the call, but I just didn't get any good calls recorded. So I went back and found some that we did that were already on the calls. Probably nobody on here has heard them except for possibly Ed. And we can dissect those. And I want to encourage you guys to do the same thing, because my goal is to record new calls every week. When you're making these calls, record yourself. You have a separate phone recorder or record. I'm sure you can get a recorder on your laptop, or just launch a Zoom call and record it within the Zoom call. Somehow record these calls so you can, if you want to, I'd love for you to send them to us, right? We'll listen to them. We'll go over them with you. If you volunteer to do so, we'll go over them in this Zoom, right? We'd love to have you guys do that. We've had a couple of people do that in the past. We'd love to have you guys do that going forward. So that's your homework. Record at least one call over this next week so we can help you get over that hurdle, get over that, that fear of calling brokers. We have a broker script that we use. It's not it's not the gospel. You're free to tear it up, make recommendations on how we could change it, add things to it. But if you want that, please send me an email with broker script in the subject, and I'll send that to you. I'm going to put my email in the chat right now for anybody that doesn't have it. All right, so nobody's got to volunteer, Ed. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to queue up one of these calls. We can listen to this call. It's probably about 6 or 7 minutes. And then I'm hoping you guys will participate in that. I want you to critique it for me. I want you to tell me what's helpful. What did I do well? What could I have done better? Love to get your thoughts on that. So I will get that queued up here. Oh, Ed, am I a host?
Yeah, you're host on this. I'm not, because I have to run in like a few minutes.
Okay, so you gave me the host.
Yeah.
All right, so let me find my window here. And again, we love volunteers. Love somebody to raise their hand and volunteer to do role play. Ed, can you shoot Marcel a text and tell him that we're on? We had some technical difficulties and I had texted him, so he was asking.
Oh, he's there. He's joining.
Is he popping in? Okay. All right, good deal. So where's my share screen? Share screen. We're going to share this. Share sound. So give me a thumbs up if this is.
All right, and the other thing.
Can you guys hear that?
Okay, he does have it.
Anything else, and they're really not even that. I mean, it's 89% occupied. It's, all the 80 units, and then the 30 units, they're 100%
Can you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Okay.
occupied. But
Guys, I need to run later.
Yeah.
I just think there's just probably some difference in what a new investor would do with management versus what they're currently doing there.
Right.
I don't think their envelope on tenants, and I know they have a lot of long-term tenants that've been there over 5 years.
Okay.
So I think there's just no debt. Hey, just collect the paycheck each month. We like the cash flow and just try to as best you can. You have to collect the monthly rent, and you don't need to push the envelope on you guys. So that's kind of the mindset they're currently having. And you know, of course, someone else going in there. Yeah, and I don't really know LREI that well. You know, I'm unsure if they're a great management company in Louisville. Been working in Kentucky for 6 years, and I haven't heard a ton of their name. So, you know, that may be, you know, another thing as well, with maybe just getting a better property management company there.
Gotcha. Do you have a sense of how far below market they might be currently?
$150 plus or minus.
$150.
Each.
And do you think that's based on as is condition, or you got to dump the 3,500 in to get that 150?
It's like a combination of different things. Like there's competing properties in the area that charge a rub on water and sewer and gas. They're currently not doing that. They're only charging, you know, electric and tenant's name. That's all they're charging. And then I think going in there doing the light upgrade and then doing a combination of management things such as charging a rub would get you to that 150.
Gotcha. Okay. And are there any? I looked at one. I don't think there's a couple I've looked at today, so I'm confusing myself. One was marketed as no amenities. That wasn't this one. Are there any amenities at any of these locations?
Not that I know of. I mean, the only amenity would be a common area laundry room, which some have, some don't.
Okay. All right.
Some use your direct connection, some don't.
Gotcha. Okay. And is that, how many different locations are you talking about?
3, 5. Like 5 apartment locations.
Okay.
And I mean, houses are all pretty much on a couple streets, all in the same neighborhood.
Okay. How many houses were there again? 19?
19.
19 houses. Okay. All right. That sounds good. And you emailed me all that information you said?
Just emailed you, yep.
Perfect. All right. We'll take a look at that. Might definitely be, you know, I love the fact that it's obviously the other question was are they open to owner financing?
They've declined the past 3 owner financing offers that sent them.
Okay.
But you know, if it's like a 10 or 15%, you know, seller second, I think that would be more, you know, for them to be inclined to hold any paper would be less.
Okay.
But they've been declined. Once they've been asking me like 50%, which, you know,
Yeah.
they just don't want to do that.
They don't want to carry 50%. Understood.
Money mature money. I mean, that might be an option, you know, if it's,
Sure.
you know, at their price, right? I mean, you want client to do it.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's all part of it, right? What's the balance there? Are they are they willing to offer some terms if they get their price? Are they willing to flex on their price at all, or are they pretty firm on their price?
Yeah, I think there's some room there on the price.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds great. Let's and you said how many offers have you had with seller financing terms?
Probably 6 around there.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the least amount of seller financing someone has offered?
I want to say like 35%.
Okay, so we've tested the line at 35, and the answer is no.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. You know, obviously that always often makes the deal more attractive if we can keep the previous owner as a partner, basically, right? Not looking for any other help, totally hands off, but you know, we need always, everybody in this business is always looking for more private lenders, right? No better way to get a private lender than from your seller. So
For sure.
anyway, I really appreciate the information. I appreciate the call back, especially when you're under the weather. You're calling, I think I called you on a Kentucky number. You're calling me from a
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Yeah, this is my cell phone number. My office line is a Kentucky number. I'm actually based in Nashville.
You are in
Oh,
Nashville.
yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
I look a little more at the 502 area code.
Okay. Do you work in Tennessee at all?
Correct, in Nashville.
Do you have opportunities in the Tennessee area?
Oh, so our brokerage firm operates is for state and team oriented. So I just covered Kentucky.
Okay.
So I am licensed. We have a team that does Tennessee. Yes, we do have Tennessee listings. I'm just not the representative.
You're not the guy.
Covers more.
I gotcha.
Correct.
Do you deal with many off-market properties?
In Kentucky, yeah.
Okay. Definitely interested in what you have off-market multifamily in Kentucky.
Okay. Do you happen to have a website or anything that kind of gives details of what your criteria
Yeah.
is?
So I actually, I'm not sure if we have that on the website yet. I don't, because we're building a brand new website currently, but I will send you our buy box in an email.
Okay.
And if you can,
Fantastic.
yeah, if you can email me anything off market you think we might be interested in, please do. We're looking for more. My underwriters are chomping at the bit to look at more deals and submit more LOIs. So love to do some business with you.
Sounds good. I'm happy to send you a couple more deals I've got.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Hey, you feel
problem.
better.
I appreciate it, Peter. Have a good rest of your day.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. So I am unmuted. All right. So give me some feedback. Although have you heard that call before? You probably didn't hear that, right? Okay. What are your thoughts? Is that helpful to listen to that?
Yeah.
Leonard, you unmuted.
Oh,
Go for it.
Okay, yeah, so I like, it was very conversational. You didn't, you weren't really like pressing a whole lot, so that was good. I mean, you just kind of were talking to them about what they had. You made really good conversation, finding out the information that you wanted to know about the property and about the seller, but it didn't sound like you were trying to grill them for information. It just sounded like you're like, oh yeah, so have you had other offers that offered, so you could try to get where your level was as far as the financing and as far as the as what the seller was looking for, without just saying, so tell me what your seller wants, that kind of thing. And
Right.
then so I thought that was really good. I liked how you segued into trying to see if he had other off market listings, either in Tennessee or you noticed his number was a Tennessee number, and so that got you in on that area. And he talked about how they have another team that does that, but then he was saying, oh, but I have them in Kentucky. So I thought that was it was very smooth.
Good, thanks. So how is this helpful to you to hear that?
Yeah. I mean, it is. And so this was a broker that you saw a listing on LoopNet, and then we're asking about that, and then got into the conversation for other listings. Is that how that came about?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't even remember. It probably said LoopNet there. I didn't remember if it was LoopNet or
Yeah.
Crexi.
It had LoopNet on the website that was showing in the
Yeah.
background. So
Yeah. So great question, right? You can just look up brokers everywhere, right? And if you start with commercial brokers, you might reach a whole bunch of people that don't even deal with apartments at all.
right.
In fact, I have a close personal friend who's a commercial broker, and I reached out to him several months ago when I started doing this, and he doesn't do apartment building, right? That's not his specialty. He's still somebody I want to know, because
Right.
guess what? If he comes across, and I mean, I want to know. I already know him. I've known him. for
Right. He's your
years.
friend. Right.
I want him to know what I do, right?
Yeah.
Because even residential agents will
Mhm.
come across a client who owns an apartment building.
Mhm.
That's the best lead, because they don't
Yeah.
know what they can do with it, right? That's an off-market property. If they're bringing it to a residential agent, they don't have a close relationship with a commercial broker. That's a great person to get connected with. So you want not just your commercial broker folks, but reach out to your residential agents too, and make sure they know what you're doing, right? If you know any residential agents, make sure you tell them
Yeah.
you're interested in buying
And-
multifamily.
And that's what I've done that with the lady who sold me my house that I live in, and then also a friend of mine who just got into real estate, and then another broker that I just residential broker that I just met. I kind of talked to all of them and said, hey, I'm doing multifamily. If you come across anything, or if you see anything, or if you know anybody who is looking, to sell, and they come to you, point them my way. So
Awesome. Good stuff. Appreciate the feedback, Leonard. And it's great to hear, that this is helpful for people. That's what we're here for. We want to deliver what's helpful for you guys. Anybody else have any thoughts? What could I have done better? What did you like? How is this helpful to you? We need the feedback.
Well, what was your goal in this call, Peter? What were you trying to get? In a general sense, I would say.
Yeah. So, that every time I'm calling a broker, I'm calling about a specific property, but at the end of the day, I really don't care much about that property. I mean, if it's a great deal, awesome, fantastic. That's the goal. But my goal on the call is to build that relationship. My goal on that call is for that guy to know who I am, know what I'm doing, and think of it, right? And that's a long game. If they're in this business already and they've closed a bunch of deals, well, guess what? They have buyers that they know. So when they get really good deals that come across their plate, they're gonna bring it to the people they've already closed deals. So we have to reach it. We have to start the relationship. That was the first time I'd ever talked to that guy, right? And I've talked to him a couple times since then. But when I went to look for this call to bring it to this Zoom tonight, it made me realize I need to reach out to this guy again. So it's building that relationship. It's playing that long game. And something that struck me last night on our activation call was, getting a deal done. And I've definitely changed my thought process, because when I first started the transition from single family to multifamily, I'm like, go big or go bigger, right? Vina Jetty says that all the time, go big or go bigger. And I agree with her. I want 100 units or more, right? Because we can afford to pay for management. You can have outside management with those bigger properties, but we need to close a deal. We need to own a multifamily asset. So even if it's just 12, I was really hesitant. I wasn't even looking at 10, 12, 8 units. Didn't want it, because that's a job. That's not an asset that I can turn over to a property manager and manage the manager. Right? It's just not big enough. But if I get 4 of them, 4 12 unit buildings, now I got 48 units. And we've got to start somewhere. And everyone mentions it. It's like the law of the first deal. Once you've closed the deal, now you're on the map. The broker that you close the deal with knows you. Other brokers start to get to know you. Other people start to get to know you. Other people in these communities start to bring you deals because you've closed the deal. So it's again, you can't rush it. You don't want to get impatient. And right now, this market requires tremendous patience, because we still have this huge disconnect between the current reality and the reality of 6 months, a year ago. The sellers still want last year's prices, but last year's prices don't line up with this year's interest rate. So, and in the, in the single family world, for those of you who come from there, you run into people all the time that they're just in trouble. They don't have a choice. They have to sell. You can find that in multifamily as well, but it's just not as common, right? In the multifamily, you're trying to buy the asset. Why are you trying to buy it? Because of cash flow. Well, it's already cash flowing for the other person. So they're not in a big hurry. But time changes all circumstances, right? So we have a bunch of bridge debt out there. So a bunch of bridge debt that's going to come due. Those people are going to have to sell. They're not going to have a choice. So it's staying in the game, be active, take action, and line up your private lenders and be ready to go when that opportunity comes across your desk. Because those are the opportunity. If you stay active and you keep taking action, the opportunities are going. So, any other questions? I have another call queued up that we can listen to. I'm happy to do that, but I'd much rather have the interaction from the group. Mohan, you're unmuted. You have a question or a comment?
I like the idea which you mentioned, building the relationship, right? Even when you even if the conversation is not going towards the offer or the deal is not good, still you are building the rapport so that in future something comes, right? You are still in his mind, right? So it's not just the intention of getting, hey, you have a deal, can you shoot it to me? That's not the goal, right? Trying to build the relationship. I like that idea, so I have to keep that in mind.
Well, and so we do need the information on the deals too, right? And one of the ways we can build that rapport is by giving them feedback, right?
Right.
One thing that happens is you talk to all these brokers and you get busy and you've got your W-2 and they send you the email and you don't respond.
Correct.
So one of the things we like to do is, even when the deal doesn't make any sense, or we don't think it makes any sense, or it doesn't make any sense for us, we want to respond to the broker and tell them why. Right? Here's what our underwriting showed, and the seller wants 13 million, and we're at 10. And here's why. Right? So we want to give them that feedback. In fact, that the deal that Aldo and I have an LOI out on right now, we thought for sure. We feel like we're being conservative, but we're being as aggressive as we're comfortable being. We thought for sure they came back to us and they said, congratulations, you're invited to submit your highest and best offer. Congratulations. Yeah, they're just trying to get more money out of you. That's all. And we stuck to our guns. Our response to them was, we're very interested in continuing the dialogue. You have our highest and best. That's it. And I thought for sure, because of course, the broker's job is to make you feel like, the broker's job is to get the deal sold. But they also want to make you feel like you're in competition, right? So when they said the highest and best, and they made it feel like there's multiple other offers. Well, now, based on his response to our response, I'm feeling like there's nobody making any offers, right? We're still in the game.
Yeah.
He did say, I feel like you're probably a little bit low, but it's a reasonable offer. So we're presenting it to the seller. So who knows? So maybe we'll be in the game here shortly, and then the real work begins, right? Now we have to raise the capital. Get the deal done. But so anyway, appreciate that. And any other thoughts, questions, comments?
A lot of questions. I mean, still, I'm just starting, so don't want to put everything in once.
So have you called any brokers yet?
I've emailed a couple of them.
Okay.
I got a response as well. I called them, but they didn't pick up. So a real live call hasn't happened yet. I mean, residential side happened, but now I'm multifamily. I'm just entering. So so it didn't happen yet.
So what would keep you from calling commercial brokers this week?
I'm sorry?
What would keep you from calling brokers this week?
Okay.
Is there any reason, I guess, is there any reason why you wouldn't call brokers this week?
No, I called a couple of them, didn't got a response, so I didn't call rest of them. So I'm just looking at the LoopNet and Cruxy
Okay.
and picking up properties and looking at them and then just calling them. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Awesome, awesome. Do you have a W-2? Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, okay.
So
All right, very
I
good.
get like a pockets of time, like during the lunchtime, I call. So if I don't get any response, then I have to go back to my cabin. Then I can't pick the call from there. Then I have to come out.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, we're another thing we're trying to do is keep these calls to an hour. So we're at 45 minutes. I've got one more to listen to unless anybody else had any other feedback they wanted to talk about right now. We can do that. Otherwise, I'll queue up the other call. All right. Let me, how do I share screen? There it is. There's the big share screen button. All right. Shares. I am not the best at this, folks, so bear with me. Wrong thing. Yeah, when you have the Zoom up, it's very different when the Zoom's up and when it's not up.
It
And I
isn't,
don't-
disappears.
Yeah. All right, I think this is the one. Let's see what happens.
Let's do it.
I'm doing great. I was calling you about the property at the Magnolia Apartments, 56 units.
We are under letter of intent and initiating a contract.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I will reserve the right to follow up on you with that. Follow up with you on that is okay. Do you have any other multifamily assets that you are marketing currently?
I have one potential off-market deal. I actually just a longtime client of mine, and he's contemplated selling. And I just texted him this morning to see if he was a serious seller or not. It's probably a similar size property. I want to say it's around 60 units spread over 3 different properties that are in proximity to each other.
Okay.
Is that something that might be of interest?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's always I prefer off-market properties, so it's interesting that you say that. How define the proximity? Do you know how close together they are?
I'd say they're within a mile of each other.
Oh.
Two of them are right next to each other. The bulk of the units are together, and then the other is just kind of a side property that I think has, I'm going off memory, so don't hold me to it. I want to say the other one has like 12 units, but it's in the same general area. So from a management perspective, it's super easy.
Yeah, no, that sounds perfect. Now, it's funny. I'm doing a lot of networking here. Where my team and I are actively pursuing assets in Tennessee specifically. But when I wrote your name and number down, I wrote Magnolia Apartments, and I don't know if that's in Chattanooga or Memphis or Knoxville or where it is.
It's in Knoxville.
Okay.
And these properties that I'm talking about are just outside of Knoxville.
Okay.
Do me a favor.
Sure.
I'm in a really bad place for cell service.
Okay.
Do you have my email address?
Go ahead and give it to me if you could.
It's hadams, ADAMS, at Koella Moore, KOELLAMOORE.com.
Got it. Perfect.
If you could send me your contact information, send me kind of your general acquisition criteria. I specialize only in investment sales, with multifamily being a large component of what I do.
Okay.
So just send me what you're looking for. Remind me we talked on the phone, because my memory is not what it used to be. And as soon as I hear back from my client on these units, I can send you a confidentiality agreement and get you some details.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. That's a perfect scenario right up my alley. So I appreciate that.
Okay.
I will send you that.
Yeah.
I'll send you that email this afternoon. So I see that you spent.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
I see that you spent a lot of your career in Central Florida. What area were you in?
I actually graduated high school in Oviedo and got my real estate license when I was 18.
Nice.
And this is all I've ever done. I was I lived right outside of the University of Central Florida and that area.
Yeah.
And my portfolio was I spent the first 23 years of my career there. So I did a lot, but the last 5 years I was there, I was in-house for a German investment group, and my portfolio was Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville.
Awesome.
So
very good.
Are you from that area?
Well, so it's funny. I live in Atlanta now. I'm from New England, but I graduated high school in Boca. So not super close to where you are, but we used to travel up to that area to play a golf tournament here and there. And so very familiar with the Orlando area. I have a niece that lives in Claremont Bay. So yeah. So awesome.
It's very small world.
Absolutely. So, well, I appreciate your time. Thanks for taking my call, and I'll look forward to.
Thank you for calling.
Yeah, I look forward to following up with you.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Take care. Thanks.
All right.
All right.
Yeah. So that
I
one
see a lot of-
again.
See a lot of head shaking out there.
Yeah.
This was
That one,
awesome.
that one again was that was really good as how you built the rapport, and even just pull in the Florida connection, even if you aren't looking for stuff in Florida, you just get her a connection with you that she'll be, she'll remember when she calls you back, or when you call her back, or when you email her, she's gonna know who she was talking to.
Yeah, that's, and I find that when I do call people back, that they remember the conversation, because I ask, I try to find something about them that I can connect with them on, right? And, something outside of real estate, just to differentiate yourself from everybody else that calls them, because they do get a lot of phone.
Peter, you got great people skills. You got a great people skills.
Well, thank you. And look, it's obviously very comfortable for me to make these phone calls, right? And I'm trying to help you guys get as comfortable. And I know it's, some big resistance that I've heard over the past is not knowing what to say. And obviously, if you're brand spanking new and you don't know anything about multifamily and you don't even know how to speak the language, then that's going to be very daunting, right? What are you going to call this for? What the heck are you going to say? You don't even know what to ask them. So the script is very helpful for that. And what I'll tell you is the first thing I ask them, is the property at such and such still available? Okay, great. What's the story behind it? That's where I start. My computer's about to die. I thought it was plugged in, but my my light switch was off and I plugged into a light switch outlet. That's not good. Anyway, so yeah, what's the story behind this property? Why are they looking to sell? When I ask that question, sometimes I really don't have to ask any other question. Sometimes the conversation goes nowhere, right? Because some brokers are just not easy to connect with. They might know right off that they don't have a relationship with you. They've been doing it for 30 years. They have all their buyers. They don't need you, right? This is just the nuisance phone call. And some people treat you like that. Well, I look at that as a challenge, right? How can I get this person's interest? How can I connect with them? Maybe they're a golfer. Maybe they live someplace that I used to live, whatever. Just try to make some connection. And I've had success with that, right? And then it turns around and then they, we talk about grabbing coffee or whatever. So it's making that personal connection that can be so important. But yeah, so having the script, coming to this call, listening to some calls, listening to what other people say. Once you've done it a few times, the biggest thing for me is just pick up the phone and do it. Have a script so you have an idea of what you're trying to do. Set a goal. A good goal for these calls is to get the T12 and the rent roll and the OM if there is one. And for maybe some of you guys are brand new, you don't even know what that stuff is. The T12 is the trailing 12. It's going to tell you all the rents that they've collected over the last 12 months. And in the, all income, pet fees, whatever they're charging over the last 12 months. Sometimes they talk about the T3, right? Because they want to see, okay, the T12 is important, but I want to see how this property's performed for the last 3 months. Because sometimes you'll look at the numbers and the property was doing much better a year ago. And now the most recent numbers don't look that good. Right? So that T3 analysis is very important. And then the OM is the offering memorandum. And sometimes they'll say, well, we don't even have one of those. And that's great. When they haven't put an OM together, they don't even have their marketing piece together. That's a great opportunity for we investors, I believe. If they've already been marketing it, then it's going to be a lot, we're going to be in competition with other buyers at that point. So, but T12, offering memorandum, and rental. If you can get those three, now you have information that, and again, when you're brand new, you're not going to know what to do with that. And that's why you come on Tuesday nights and we do the napkin underwriting and we take the next step. Right? And it's going through that process a few times that's what gets you comfortable. That's what gets you to realize, what do I need to know? What questions do I need to ask? What is the broker going to ask me? And one of the questions that people get asked, they mention a lot, is that, what do I do when they ask me for proof of funds? And I can tell you, even though, I haven't been doing this very long, no one's ever asked me that. If they're asking you that, it's you don't have enough confidence yet, and that's okay, right? Come back here, let's talk about it. Tell us what you're struggling with on the calls. We'd love to walk you through that, love to help you get over those hurdles. But it's, once you're confident enough and you're asking the right questions, they don't even think about that, because the reality is, if they're asking you that question, they sense that you're new and they're just trying to feel you out, right? Because if you're looking at a $16 million deal, nobody's sitting there with $4 million in cash in the bank ready to close that deal. They know the money's coming from different places. And so when they're asking you, that's much more of a single family question. They shouldn't be asking you that question. We need to get you to the point where you're confident enough that they're not asking you that question. So I hope you guys will keep coming back here. I hope it's helpful, and I appreciate the feedback that we did get. We like it when we get more feedback and more interaction, but hopefully listening to these calls is helpful. We didn't get to role play tonight, but I will commit to make sure we do some role playing next week, if that's in fact what you guys want to do. And if it's not what you want to do, then let us know that too, right? Put it in the chat. Give us your thoughts in the chat if you don't want to raise your hand and talk. But let us know what you guys want to see on these calls. This is all about you, right? I don't need to come on here and make broker calls. I'm making broker calls anyway. I want to get you guys to be making broker calls. And again, if you need a buddy during the day to make calls, reach out to me, shoot me an email. I'm happy to get on a Zoom. I'd love to get on a Zoom with 3 or 4 of you all at the same time. Let's schedule a time during the week and let's do that if that's your goal, right? And look, the other thing is, I know some of you are here just to learn, and that's fantastic. And you know you're not really going to be doing the broker outreach because that's not where you fit in this game, and that's okay too, right? But it does get the whole thing started. It gets us those leads that we need, that we can start to underwrite and start looking at. So we're at the hour mark, guys. I really appreciate you hanging in here with us. Any other thoughts? Anything else you guys want? Rosa, I know you had unmuted for a minute. Did you have something you wanted to say about that last call?
It was about the first one. I was going to ask if it was the first time that you have called that broker, because that sounded so natural that I thought it was your friend, and that's my goal, to get there.
Yeah, no, so both of those calls that you heard tonight, that was the first time I talked to either of those people.
Wow.
I had never connected with. Now, it wasn't my first broker call, right? I had been doing broker calls for a few weeks. At that point, really only 2 months I had been doing broker calls. And I'm working a W-2, so it's not like I had made a ton of calls, right? But that was the first time I connected with both of those people.
When do you find is the best time to try to give them a call?
You know, I just call them during business hours. I don't usually call at 8 o'clock in the morning, but I tend to call between 10 and 3 p.m.
Okay.
But you know what? It might not be a bad strategy to make some phone calls at 8 o'clock in the morning before they get their day going, right? Because once the day gets going, it gets harder. I've actually had we have several calls where I reached brokers during the Zoom, and the Zoom was always 2 to 3. So I'm really surprised at how often they did reach me. But it was too hard. I couldn't be interacting with you guys if I'm in the background dialing, brokers. And I also tried to set up, have a timed call at, hey, Mark, I'm going to call you at 2 p.m. next month on Monday. Can you do that? Yeah. Even when you set that schedule, sometimes you make the call and they still don't answer, right? They got another call in the meantime. And so it just got so hard to get people on the phone in that window that it just didn't seem to be worth continuing to try. I'd rather just do it, have the recordings, and that way we can always listen to at least one call every week, and maybe sometimes 2 or 3. Again, if that's helpful.
And
You let us know.
When you do these calls, do you is this after you've done some preliminary underwriting, or is this when you first see the property?
I don't, and you could certainly do that and use that some quick. If you get good at underwriting, you could use some quick preliminary underwriting to screen the brokers that you want to call. But again, my real goal is just to meet the brokers. Okay. It's not about that property, so I really don't care about the underwriting at the end of the day. At this point, I'm just, and look, I can see getting to the point where you have so many broker relationships that you really don't need to continue. Now you're going to be doing more underwriting before you decide who you're going to call. Today, for me, it's still, I want to build that list. I want every broker that deals with apartment buildings in the Atlanta market to know my name. Okay. So I don't care what they have. The underwriting is irrelevant. I just want them to know.
Okay.
And I want them to get to know this team, right? That's the other thing. And this makes me think of another thing that the resistance, right? Is, well, I don't know what to say, but I don't even know what I'm going to do with the lead once I get it. That's what this is all about, right? And use the credibility of the team, right? When people ask me, well, do you guys have any assets in Atlanta? Or if they say something like, no, we just closed on an owner finance deal in Tennessee back in October. At the end of the day, I didn't have anything to do with it. But Marcel was was one of the leads in that deal. Marcel's a good friend of mine, and I'm connected with Marcel every single week in these calls. So if you're in these calls, you're part of this team, right? You're part of this multifamily freedom chasers. So use the credibility of the team to convey the credibility. And some people are not comfortable with that, right? I don't lie to people. I'm talking about what the team has done, right? Just because if they ask me, well, are you the principal? Are you the sponsor on this? No, I'm not. I'm never going to say yes to that unless I'm the sponsor, right? But you have, to me, you almost have to use the credibility of the team to gain the confidence of the brokers and whether it's debt people or the brokers or anybody in the business. You just have to be able to speak with confidence to get them to talk to you. So, but anyway, any other questions? All right, guys.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for being here. Thanks for the participation. We look forward to seeing you again next week. And come join us tomorrow night for the napkin underwrite.
All right.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Peter. Thanks
All
all.
Later,
thanks
y'all.
for your help. Appreciate it.